family mode.
Hi everyone, this is Barb. Bruno, I want to welcome you to our call today. And the topic of the call is this the year that you become an entrepreneur? The reason you were invited to this call is you had downloaded information about the staffing and recruiting profession in the past. And many of the questions that I get from individuals that are thinking about entering our profession are pretty much along the same lines. And so I thought, why not do a free webinar and answer many of the questions that seem to be on the minds of most people that are thinking about, am I that person that should go in business for myself? So let's get into today's program. And is 2016 the year that you finally decide to start your own business? And I guess you've got to ask yourself some questions. Do you really love currently what you're doing? If you're working full time, do you really love your job? The second question is, are you earning what you're worth? So when you look at, what you're doing right now, are you, absolutely earning what you feel you're worth right now? And if you stay at your job, will 2016 be any different? It's interesting because I talked to someone last week and they've basically been thinking about opening their own business for 2 years now. In fact, the first time we talked was the beginning of 2014. And the main reason that he decided not to own his own business was his loyalty to his company. He'd been with his company for a number of years and just decided that he just couldn't walk away. He felt that, he had a dedication to his company. Well, when I talked to him last week, his company just let him go. And he had been with the company longer than 20 years. And he said basically what they did is they got rid of all the people that were making a lot of money. And he said, so here I am for 2 years not doing what I want to do, and now my company lays me off. So now he is going to pursue this. But, the best way to do this is if you're currently working, set up your business, as you're working so you still have the income coming in, and then make the switch over, once you're confident that you can more than replace your income. If you answered no to any of these questions, the next question would be, how do you plan to change things? So if you don't really love what you're doing and you're not earning what you're worth, and if you stay at your job, nothing is going to change, then basically you've got to ask yourself the question, how do you plan to change things? How will you finally take control of your life once and for all? And you've probably thought of tons of reasons not to go into business. And I did the same thing before I entered a business. I was working full time. In fact, I went into business after I became a single mom, which, when I look back was kind of crazy because not only did I not have another revenue generator in my household, I had children to support by myself. But some of the reasons that you think about is, it's too risky. You might go into debt. You'll probably lose sleep over worrying about your business. You might work long hours. And of course, losing the security of a paycheck, if you call that security. The gentleman that we just signed up last week, of course, would view that much differently right now that he's been laid off. So let's discuss some of the advantages of owning your own business. Number one, you do control your own destiny. Job security doesn't exist in today's business world. When you own your own business, you're the CEO of your destiny, your future, and not somebody else. I can tell you that the only way there's job security right now is for you to keep your skills as current as possible. So when you do have to make a job change, that you're very marketable if in fact you do stay as a, like 1099 or a W-2 employee. Financial independence is a second advantage. This is probably the top reason that most people go into business for themselves. Imagine unlimited earning potential or being able to create the lifestyle you currently only dream of. Money doesn't buy happiness, but next to good health, money has the greatest impact on your life. It's interesting that I'm doing this call today because all everybody in my office is talking about and all anybody's talking about is the lottery. There's a lottery currently for $1.5 billion. And everybody's running out and buying tickets and just talking about the dreams they would have if in fact they won that lottery. When you own your own business, you basically are your own lottery. There's no limit on what you can do. Now, I'm not saying you're going to earn $1 billion in this business, but nobody can limit you. Nobody can say you're only worth this amount or that amount of money. Nobody can play with your compensation package because basically as a business owner, you are in control of your financial future. Number three, and a really huge one, is tax advantages, because when you're working for someone else, you get a paycheck, but what you do is you earn a gross amount of paycheck, you then pay taxes, and then you pay your bills. When you own your own business, you earn money, you pay your expenses first, and then you pay taxes. And there are also so many write-offs for business owners. Most business owners start out in their house where you can actually claim a lot of the expenses in your household, utility bills, mortgage payments. Much of those can be tax write-offs if you have an at-home business at the beginning. Number 4 is security. And you might think, well, I don't know that owning my own business is security, but have you ever been or lived in fear of being laid off or downsized or fired? Think of the joy of being your own boss. You run the business and don't have to worry about somebody controlling your future. The beauty about the staffing and recruiting profession is once you learn how to do what we do, all you need is the internet and a phone. In fact, when you've got a smartphone, all you need is a smartphone to make a living. And think about the job security of that, because you're going to develop lifelong relationships with hiring authorities and candidates. And all you need to be in business is just an internet connection and a phone, being able to talk to people. That's it. And you can have your job security the rest of your life. You will also be recognized as an expert. As a business owner, you're going to have the chance to establish your expertise and be recognized as an expert in your field. Because if you go into the staffing and recruiting profession, we're going to talk about the importance of you specializing, the importance of you coming up with a niche, an area of specialization, because those are the firms that make money. Years ago, people used to be full service or generalists. Even some of the billion-dollar franchise operations are now starting to specialize because they realize there's riches in niches. Number 6 is determination. When you're a business owner, you learn to become dedicated to your business, which also positively affects your professional life and your personal life. It takes you to a whole different level, because this is your reputation, this is your baby, this is your life. And that's why that determination carries over into all areas of your life. Another advantage of being self-employed is the recognition. There are thousands of local, regional, and national awards recognizing successful entrepreneurs in all fields and industries. And once you get up and you get profitable, can you apply for some of those awards and be recognized? And does that add to your bottom line? Of course it does. Of course it does. Change. As a business owner, you're going to learn to anticipate trends. You can reinvent yourself and your business throughout your life as an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs end up opening several businesses and opening them and selling them, because when you set up a business, you've got to think about your exit plan. What are you going to do with it? Are you building a business to get it at the most profitable you can get it and then sell it for the highest price? Are you opening a business because you want to eventually create an ESOP where your employees can get it? Or are you opening a business to just earn as much money as you possibly can, and when you're done, you close the doors? Those are basically the 3 options you have as an exit plan for a business. And we will teach you throughout our program the importance of understanding what you want to eventually do with this, because that really does impact the segments of the business that you go into and the business model that you set up and the entities you put around it. Number 9 is pride. I can share with you that there's nothing better than building a successful business. You have this vision, you execute your vision, and now you reap the benefits. But the beautiful part about our profession is you're going to be in the business of changing people's lives for the better. I personally can go back and say I've placed over 10,000 people in jobs through my company, and I've helped thousands of other people. I've shown them how to find jobs on their own. And if I do nothing else in my life but that, I know that I've positively impacted all those lives by helping them find employment. And think about this, when we put somebody in a job, we're not only affecting them, we're affecting their entire family. All the people they love, we're affecting their quality of life. We improve that. We're also helping companies hit their goals, because they're not going to hit their goals unless they attract the talent that they need that are going to help them attain the goals. So you have a great impact on the clients you represent, as well as the people that you put in jobs. Number 10 is your legacy. When you own your own business, you create the lifestyle of your dreams. You build something you can either sell or pass on to the next generation. But you're building a legacy. It's your mark that you're leaving. I think we're all put on this earth to figure out who we're supposed to be. It was interesting because my whole life I was told to be a teacher, and I fought it my whole life. Every assessment I ever took, every time anybody ever met with me or did any kinds of assessment, they said, no, Barbara, you're meant to be a teacher, and I kept fighting it. And I ended up becoming an entrepreneur and love that. And so what do I do now? I teach people how to get into my business. I teach job seekers how to get jobs. I teach hiring authorities how to hire and attract the best talent. And it's kind of funny that I didn't see myself as a teacher, yet being an entrepreneur has helped me do other things. And that's what will happen to you as well. Once you open your own business, all these doors just start opening. You also create jobs. There is nothing like the satisfaction of knowing you're responsible for the success of your employees. Your ideas provide them with the opportunity to earn a living and provide for their own families and fulfill their dreams. In the staffing and recruiting profession, not only are you helping the people that directly work for you, but you're going to place hundreds, even thousands of people in jobs. If you get into the contract or temp business, those people are your employees. And at one point, we had over 5,500 people working for us. And although it was a tremendous responsibility that I felt, it was also a wonderful feeling to know the impact that our company was having on all those people that worked for us. Number 12 is your brand. It's rewarding and fun to build your brand, to build your reputation, so people start referring you to you as the expert in your field. See, the ideal situation is once you set up your own business, you want your clients and candidates to come to you as a result of referrals. And that will happen once you get out there and create a brand. And that's the ideal situation where people start tracking you down because they want to do business with you. 13 is philanthropic endeavors. When you create a profitable business, you make decisions on what worthy causes you want to back. It's interesting because many people that are going into the staffing and recruiting profession, when I first talk to them and they tell me what they want to do, I convince them to do something else. Like recently, I had somebody tell me that they just wanted to place industrial workers. They wanted to place laborers in industry. And I explained to them that because of the Healthcare Reform Act, the profit in that business is gone. And it's next to impossible to get workman's comp insurance as a staffing firm that does light industrial temp. And most firms are getting out of that business because the profit margins are so low. I then explained to him that he might make a nickel an hour if he's lucky on a laborer, but if he placed engineers, he could make $15 an hour profit for every hour they worked. What would he rather do? And it just took him back. And I said, you know what? And he goes, but I really want to help people, or I have people that want to do recent grads, or people that want to do nonprofits. What I would say is, we'll help you pick a niche, pick a segment that's profitable, and then you choose what causes you're going to back. You can give back to your community, and often the philanthropic things you're able to do once you have a profitable business is one of the greatest benefits of being an entrepreneur. Because if you have more, you can give more. You don't want your business to become a hobby. You don't want your business to be a nonprofit. You want to set up a business that's extremely profitable so then you can do what you really want to do for the causes you believe in. And it's just very rewarding to not only provide jobs, not only to, earn the money and create the lifestyle you and your family want to enjoy, but you can also back those causes you truly believe in. Number 14 is having an impact. Have you ever dreamt about changing the world? I have a friend in the staffing and recruiting business who now owns one of the largest firms in the world. In fact, he uses my training programs. But his firm is now valued at over $2 billion, and he started out just like you, and he just had a dream and he wanted to do something, and then he happened to connect with the right people. He partnered up with some, venture capitalists. He got a lot of money behind him, and he now owns a business that's worth over $2 billion. And prior to that, he was earning, I think, 75 to 80,000 when he entered our profession. So the benefits that I've mentioned are all possible in the staffing and recruiting profession. There's no limits to what you can build. You can spend your life helping others attain their dreams while you're attaining yours. And the future for the staffing and recruiting profession is extremely bright. I follow an economist. His name is Ellen Below. And the reason I follow Ellen is because Ellen really knows our profession. He knows the staffing and recruiting profession. And he and I have been speakers at a lot of the same events. And so I follow his training and I watch his trends. And he's saying that 16, 17, 18 are going to be extremely strong years for the staffing and recruiting profession. So is this a good time to enter the profession? And the answer is yes. The baby boomers are still retiring at record numbers, and it's harder than ever to find people. And when people can't find talent, when top talent is hard to find, we want to go where there's a high demand and low supply, because that's when they need us. In fact, it's funny, I just spoke at a conference and I had recruiters get up and say, it's so hard to find people to fill the jobs. And I said, and you should get down on your knees every night and thank God, because if it was easy, they wouldn't need us. When it's candidate driven, when it's hard to find people, that's when we make the most money. And that's the marketplace we're in right now, thanks to the aging baby boomers, other than in oil and gas. The oil and gas industry right now is hurting. And so you're not seeing this situation necessarily in oil and gas right now. But would I suggest that somebody goes into that niche right now? The answer would be absolutely positively no, because it's not going to bounce back anytime soon. Well, again, once you master this profession, all you need is a phone and a computer, a smartphone, and you have unlimited income potential. The greatest thing about being an entrepreneur is the flexibility and the ability to become financially independent. You could live anywhere, move anywhere, and still maintain a very profitable business. I did a call today for my tutor clients, and it was interesting because I had people on the phone in Costa Rica, Puerto Rico. I think we had 7 different countries. But the gentleman who told me yesterday that he was going to be calling in from Costa Rica, he wasn't sure of his, internet connection. He wasn't sure if he could get on the call, and he wanted me to let him know if he was going to be clear. He called through Vonage. I mean, it's free. I can call you from Costa Rica. Let's see how it works, Barb. Well, he actually lives in St. Louis, Missouri, and he and his wife are in Costa Rica for 90 days. They just want to spend the winter there. And the interesting thing is he's working his business from Costa Rica, and he's doing just fine. And none of his clients know he's even there, because all he needs is his computer, his phone, and he's in business. And that's the independence of the type of business that we built. You could live anywhere, be anywhere. I used to give awards to the people that work for me and say, if we hit certain goals on Friday, we're gonna basically get off at noon, and we're gonna, go to the pool, and we're gonna just enjoy ourselves for an afternoon. They were still making calls, from where we were, if they wanted to close a deal. But they, again, nobody knows, because we do most of our business over the telephone. It will take you approximately 90 to 120 days to set up your business if you have a full-time job commitment. Again, we've got a webinar on our website that outlines the important steps you need to take in order to open a profitable staffing and recruiting business. And most of you have gone there and you've downloaded the white paper. If you haven't watched the webinar, you need to do that, because the webinar really does walk you through everything you need to do to start the business. And so if you go to howtostartarecruitingbusiness.com/startup, it'll take you right to the webinar. And when you think about it, you have 3 options if you want to enter the staffing and recruiting profession. You can go it alone and learn by making mistakes, and that option often results in failed businesses. That's what I did initially, and I almost lost my home. It was very difficult, and it took me almost 15 months before I realized any profit. I was working 2 and 3 other jobs trying to keep my business open. You can invest in a franchise, because franchises are solid. They do have training programs. In fact, a lot of them use my training. And they provide a lot of support for you, but they start at $40,000, and some go up over 6 figures. And then you've got to give, usually 10% of your sales to the franchisor for 10 years. Whether you're making a profit or not, you're paying a percentage of your sales back. Or you can invest in our staffing and recruiting startup tutor. And all I was trying to do was come up with an option that was going to provide a step-by-step process to owning and operating a profitable business. And I wanted to do something that was very cost effective, where we would do everything, provide, the website, provide everything that an individual would need. In fact, if you invest in our startup program, it's just a step-by-step process. And we guide and mentor you for 1 solid year. Because what I want to be able to do is, if you have a question, I want to be there, and we'll know what goals you've set, but we will help you not make costly mistakes. And I think that's sometimes the greatest value of having a mentor or a coach. Is it's no different than a professional trainer. If you want to get in shape, they know what you have to work on, what tools you should use. It's the same thing in our business. Our startup tutor includes the 24-lesson startup tutor, which shows you how to set up your business. The top producer tutor is basically my brain dump. It's teaching you the marketing as well as the recruiting side of the business, and you have 3 live calls monthly. 4 of them are training calls with Q&A. 2 of them are coaching calls where you just ask questions. There's a temp and contract tutor, which teaches you the staffing and contract side of the business. Our tech team creates a responsive website for you with 5 domain names, and they'll host it for you for a year. We also create your logo. You own the domain name, so after a year, obviously, if you want to host it somewhere else or do your own, you own the website, you own the logo, but we'll design and create everything for you. And this is the tech team that has done all of my technical things. You get a copy of all of our proprietary forms that we use, so you'll have all the forms you need for your business. We give you a career portal, because out of every 100 people that come to you, you're going to place 5. Because you'll have a lot of people apply to you that don't have skills, stability, and experience. which is what the clients want. So we give these other people a resource that they can use. You'll still help them find a job, and it also generates passive income for you. We also help you get your professional certification when you're done with our program, and we will refer you to companies that can do the back office and fund you if you intend to go into the contract and staffing business, so you don't have to bankroll, payroll for contractors or temporary workers. I truly believe that there's no better profession than what we do. I've helped hundreds of people enter this profession. I don't think there's a better time than now because of what's going on in the marketplace. It's just a matter of, is this the year you're going to do it? It's easy to think about all the things that could go wrong, but have you really thought about how it could change your life and you could take control for once and for all? And is owning your own business a 24/7 job? Initially, of course, it is. It's going to take blood, sweat, and tears. I work 24/6, and the reason I do that is I prefer not to work on Sunday. My clients and my candidates know that. Have I worked on Sunday in the past? I have. But the last few years, I've just said basically, I'll work on Saturday if somebody needs me, but on Sunday, I would like to have that day off, And when you own your own business, are there concerns and are there worries and are there frustrations? Of course there are. But no different, and sometimes a lot less when you're in control. At least if you don't like something, you can change it, which is much different than if you work for somebody else. What I'd like to do now, I think, is the most important part of the call, and that's answer any of your questions. Alvin, I see you had a question for quite a while. I will get to your question first. You can ask me questions one of two ways. Look at the control panel on the right-hand side, and if you click on the attendee list, when you called in, I gave you a telephone number, I gave you an access code and a PIN number. If you put all three numbers in and you're calling on a landline, not a cell phone, what you can do is you can actually, click on that hand, the hand that's raised. I can unmute your line and I can talk to you one-on-one. If you'd rather type a question, and if you go further down on the control panel, you see the word questions, and if you click on that, it'll open a dialog box, and then then you can put any questions in. Now, Alvin, let's see, is this the live recording where we can ask questions? So where you put that in, Alvin, is where you can ask questions. So any questions you have right now, this call is live. All my calls that I do are live. And the reason I do that is because, I hate when I sign up for something and then I realize it's not a live call. Let's see, this is from Tarsha. What is the normal time frame for a new staffing business to see a profit if they remain focused and dedicated? I usually say 6 months, 5 to 6 months, Tarsha, and let me explain why, okay? When you first start out, it's going to take you 2 to 3 months to get your business set up, depending on how much attention you put into it. Once you set up your business and say you write your first order, so you land your first account, and they want to hire somebody. So now you have an order from a client, they want you to find them somebody. The average hiring right now, the average hiring process is taking 3 to 5 weeks, depending on the level that you're placing. If you go into the contract and temp business, it'll be faster than that. But if you're doing full-time jobs, the average hiring from the time they give you from the time they do the first interview to the time they hire is 5 weeks. So I want you to think about that. You write the order. It's going to take you some time to find the person. It'll take you a week or 10 days to find somebody. Now it's going to be a 3 to 5 week process till they get hired. Once they're hired, most people have to give a 2-week notice, okay? So now they give a 2-week notice, and the company pays you in 30 days. That's why I say that 6-month window. That's why I suggest that most people, when you're setting up your business, you keep your full-time job. Even when you first set up your business, until you start letting your first clients, you keep your full-time job, and then when you see, because at that point, you'll be 60, 90 days out from making money. But that's average. You can make money quicker if you do temp or contract. But, I don't want you to have these expectations like, wow, by the second month, I'm going to be up and I'm going to be making what I'm making currently working for my company. That won't happen because of the hiring process, time to take a notice, and then most clients pay in 30 days. Contract and temporary is usually paid weekly. Full-time placement pays in 30 days. So you have to allow for that. You've got a budget for that. Let's see. This is from Andrea. Which of the staffing softwares out there would you recommend? I don't recommend staffing software until I know what you're doing, because there are probably 150 different ATS systems, and that's what you're going to want to buy. You're not going to want to get a CRM. You're going to want to buy an ATS, which is an applicant tracking system. Now, there's so many of them out there, Andrea, and a lot of them have bells and whistles you're never going to use. A lot of them, once you're with them, for you to try to transfer for another system will cost you 10 grand because of the way they're set up. It's not good. It's not easy to transfer information from their systems into somebody else's. And it also depends on what niche you're in. Some software does not work if you're going to do temp or contract. They're more for direct firms. Some software is great if you've got a blended model where you're placing people in full-time jobs as well as staffing and recruiting. There's some software that's better if you're doing medical, because the medical placement, you need credentialing, and so, when we know what you're doing, when we know what your business model and what segments of the profession, when we know your exit plan, when we get a good idea and get our arms around the kind of business you're building, then we will recommend 2 or 3 different software companies to you, just like we'll recommend back office funding, depending on what you're going to place. These companies are all different, and I know them all because I've been training at conferences for over 20 years. I've seen every exhibit hall. I've seen every demo. Many of them want me to put my name on their software. The problem is I would never only recommend one. I want people to have a choice, which is why I don't put my name on any of these products. So, a lot of people want me to put my name and want to pay me money to back a certain system. But again, they don't all fit everybody. I think you've really got to know what kind of business you have before you can decide what kind of applicant tracking software. But you don't want to get, you don't want to work off of an Excel spreadsheet. You don't want to get a CRM that is not designed to work with, staffing and recruiting, because, many of these systems can actually help you match. Many of these systems can interact with job boards and a lot of other things, so I think it's important that you know what you're doing before you pick your software. Let's see, do we absolutely need to pick a niche, or can we assist job seekers in general? If you want to make a lot of money, you pick a niche. If you want to assist job seekers in general, it's much harder for you to make a lot of money. And the reason is, I want to give you an example. Say that I'm a generalist, and so one day I'm placing secretaries, and the next day I'm placing a project manager, and then I get a job for a programmer. Okay, well, all of those candidates want to be sent on more than one job. So if I only have one job for a secretary and I send somebody out, if I don't send them on 2 or 3 interviews, they're going to go on interviews on their own because they can go to job boards, websites, they can go to their networks. And so what we try to do in the staffing and recruiting profession is we try to send candidates on 2 or 3 interviews. We market them to our other clients. Okay, the other thing is, you have to find top talent faster than your competition. And so if you're doing all different types of titles, and say that, in any given year, you're placing 20 different people in 20 different jobs. Well, when those jobs come in, you've got to start from scratch because you don't have a database built up. If you picked a niche, say that you picked accounting and finance, just as a niche, okay? If you picked accounting and finance, and then in accounting and finance, you decided that you were only going to place auditors. That's all you were going to do. And you picked several types of auditors. And so maybe you're placing 5 or 6 different kinds of auditors. Well, when you get an auditor job in, your database is 5 or 6 auditors. That's all you got, are just candidates that are auditors. You don't have other people. So can you fill jobs faster than your competition? You can, because you can proactively recruit. And most of the firms, Marcel, that were generalists, even your major franchises, they're all starting to specialize, and they're specializing within their specializations. The only thing opposed to that is if you're in a very, very small geographic area. Say that you've got a population of 25,000 and there's no big city near you, and you just want to work a very local market, and you only want to work, you want to face-to-face every candidate, you want to do that. Then sometimes, you might become a generalist then, but you just won't make the money. The reason you hear me saying there's riches and niches is because all the firms making $1 million plus are niched. I don't know any of the full service firms that are doing everything for everybody that hit that $1 million mark. And so if your goal is to build $1 million business, you need 30 accounts. That's all you need. And you need accounts that hire what it is that you do. And see, a lot of people go into our business thinking that we help job seekers find jobs. We very rarely place people who are not working. We help people that are working make their next career move. The companies that are going to pay you fees and pay you margins want to hire people that are working, that have exactly what they want. Half the time they want you to recruit out of their competition, and even the temps and contractors that are working, they want to hire a contractor who's been on contract the last 2 or 3 years, that has a track record of success. They're not going to pay us fees and margins for people that are unemployed, that if they ran an ad, they could get the same people. They want us to find them people that are better skilled, higher level, have a better track record than what they can find on their own. And that's why it's so important for us. You've got to realize that. When I went into this business, just so you know, when I went into this business, I thought we helped people find jobs. And that's how I almost lost my home. I spent the first year of my life trying to help people that were not employed find jobs. Okay, I had no idea that what we do is, we basically find top talent, and I didn't realize that. So I'm sending out all these people, and I'm spending all this time doing resumes for people, giving them free career consulting, doing all these things, and I almost lost everything I had because I had no idea that that's not our business. Okay, our business is basically, we represent the clients. They're the ones that pay our fees. They tell us what they want, and we go out and we find it. And do we help job seekers? Do we also then market them to other people? Of course we do. So we will market other people, and we will market them to other companies, but the unemployed, often our clients will not hire unemployed people through us because they could find those people just by running an ad, either on a job board or on their website or a classified ad or whatever they want to do. They could find those people. They want us to find a hidden marketplace that they can't find on their own. And that's why it's important that we realize that, and the job seekers in general, what you do is you specialize in a niche, and then all those other job seekers that are doing other things, you give them access to your career portal. So you're still helping them find a job. The career portal really, I developed that career portal 3 years ago because quite honestly with you, Marcel, it's bothered me for over 25 years that I help 5% of the people that come to me for a job. And the other 95% either are not in the niche, they don't have the experience, the skills, the stability. I couldn't help them. And and you'd spend all this time on the phone giving them free career consulting and trying to give them advice. I finally developed a resource that shows them exactly how to find a job. That career portal has all the secrets that recruiters know how to find people jobs. So you'll help everybody. You will place the people in your niche, hopefully, and then you will give everybody else your career portal, and you'll still make some passive income on the career portal. So that way you can help everybody. But again, if you're in a very, very small community and there's not a lot of competition, and you're not, there's no big city near that you plan to place in, you could be a generalist, but it's just never going to be that $1 million business. I just haven't seen it happen. And I'm not trying to, and again, if you want to talk to me offline, if any of you want to talk to me direct, I'm going to give you my phone number. My phone number is area 219-663-9609. So if you want to call me, my phone number is 219-663-9609. If you want to send an email, you can send an email to support@staffingandrecruiting.com. Let me put that screen up so you've got my contact information. And so there's my phone number, there's the email address, and if you want to basically, talk to myself or anybody here, you can just call those numbers. This is from Andrea. How do you find contacts at new companies to help you place new people? We teach you how to do that. There's a marketing process. We will teach you how to identify new contacts. You're going to have a lot of inside information. When you interview candidates, you get a tremendous amount of leads from your candidates. They tell you all about the past places they worked. You're going to turn reference checking into marketing calls. You're going to market, candidates directly to hiring authorities. And we show you how to build a territory. We show you how to find the contacts. First, you have to decide what you're going to place. And then you have to figure out what are levels 2 above, like who would the boss's boss be of the people you're going to place, and that's the contact you call. And basically, you can get them. So many of their names are online. There's so many resources that you can get online. Or many times, if you put down the name of a company in Google, do a Google search on the name of a company and put N CFO, more than likely the CFO is listed just through a simple Google search. You can also call into companies, and we show you how to get information from the receptionists, and so we'll teach you how to find contacts. But the first thing you have to do is decide what you're going to place, what titles are you going to place, with what type of companies. Then you identify 200 companies that would hire the type of person you want to place, and then you whittle it down until you get it to 30 accounts. And that's all you need for $1 million business is 30 accounts. And then you upgrade those 30 accounts your whole career. Can I talk to you offline? Yes, you've got the number right in front of you. And again, if you haven't watched the webinar in how to, on the site, if you just put down /startup after the email on the bottom, that how to start a recruitingbusiness.com /startup, that'll take you directly to the webinar. The webinar is recorded, but if you listen to that, it'll give you a lot of the steps. And also, by the way, if you don't invest in my program, I still want to help you. And so what I do once a week is I write an article for new entrepreneurs on this site. So how to start a recruitingbusiness.com, I write an article once a week that we post trying to show new owners what to think about, what to do. So whether you invest in my program or you just go to the site and get some free advice there, it's okay with me. I just want to help. I want to prevent people from making all the mistakes I made my first 15 months that almost cost me my home. And like I said, I was a single mom and had no clue. I was working so hard, but hard work doesn't guarantee success in our profession. You've got to know where to focus and where to put your efforts. And that's what our program helps you do. The Startup Tutor is basically, showing you exactly what to do for your first year. Also, anybody that is on this line with me, we have never discounted our product ever. Our program, the one-year mentoring program with everything I showed you, is under $5,000. Where and it's funny, the franchises start at $40,000 and most of them use my training. And so you can get your website, everything you need, plus a year of mentoring and coaching, all the training, all the forms. You can get certified, you can get your logo design, everything I mentioned earlier for under $5,000. But if any of you listening on this call, we've got your names, anybody that signed up for this particular call, I wanted to give you a little bit of an incentive because everybody loves to get a deal. So anybody on this call, if you decide you want to do this and you do this before the end of January, it's the 13th. So if you do this by the end of January, do not go online and order this. Call my office, tell them you were on this webinar, and we will deduct $500 off the price. So, we do have a 3-payment plan. This would only be for people that pay for the entire program up front. If you do a 1 payment, we will reduce the cost of our program by $500 for anybody that invests before the end of the month. But you would have to call my office because that pricing is not online. We don't have links for that price. I just told my team I was going to do that this morning. And so the only way for you to get the $500 discount is to call my office, and order through us, because then we will deduct the $500 from the price. I don't see any more questions. Again, when you're thinking about this, I would love to answer any questions you have. I'm very accessible. I make myself very accessible for our Startup Tutor clients. And again, I would love to answer any additional questions you have. But I can tell you that the day I decided to be an entrepreneur was the best decision I ever made, because as a single parent, I did not get support from my ex-husband. And as an entrepreneur, I was able to put my 5 children through college. I was able to help them all get homes. I was able to help them with their weddings, and I was able to do a lot of things for my children, and now I'm helping my grandchildren. And had I stayed working for somebody else, that would have never happened. And I know it, so and I would never be talking to you today. If I didn't make the decision over 25 years ago to take that leap, I wouldn't be helping anybody right now. I'd be working a job and probably very frustrated and very limited on what I could have done for my family. So the reason I'm talking to you today is because one day, many years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm worth more than this paycheck and I'm tired of it. I've got to do something where I get paid what I'm worth. And becoming an entrepreneur, in my mind, was the only way I could do that, because nobody could stop me. I basically controlled my own destiny. And I'd love to see some of you make the same decision. It's worth the blood, sweat, and tears. It really is. If this is something that you really want to do. So you've got my numbers, you've got the email addresses. I greatly appreciate you joining me today. I try to limit these calls to 30 or 40 minutes. I see no more questions. I would love to be your mentor and coach for the next year. If you decide to do this in any way or do it on your own, there's no better profession than ours. And so still go to my site and read all the free information. But I'm so glad you all joined me. And I really look forward to hopefully working with some of you over the next 12 months. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks.